Welcome to Agoracom Small Cap Breaking News, your daily go-to source for the best small cap headlines for over 65 million investors since 2007. We are diving deep today, really getting into the weeds on some key small cap mining news. Our mission isn't just about reading headlines, it's about pulling out the specific hard data, the drill results, the permits, the things that tell you, okay, this story might actually have legs and deserves a closer look.
Exactly. We're filtering out the noise, focusing on the numbers and the milestones that genuinely reduce risk or point towards something much bigger. And today, we've got 4 companies hitting those kinds of triggers. Real substance here.
Right. We're looking at Group 11 Resources, that's ZNG over in Ireland with some impressive expansion drilling. Then Denarius Metals, DMET, who've just cleared a huge hurdle in Colombia. Also Prospector Metals, PPP, hitting high-grade gold in Canada. And Vizsla Copper, VCU, with a pretty significant discovery shaping up in BC.
A good mix of exploration success and development progress.
Definitely. Let's kick things off with Group 11 in Ireland, ZNG. The headline reads, Group 11 expands Ireland discovery with high-grade zinc-lead and new copper-silver zone. Sounds positive, but the actual intercepts are, well, they're pretty eye-popping.
They really are, and the company itself is saying these are some of their best results so far. What catches your eye immediately is the grade and width. One step-out hole, for instance, hit 25.6 meters. It's a thick intercept, averaging 9.2% combined zinc and lead, plus 28 grams per ton silver.
Okay, let's break that down. 9.2% zinc lead over almost 26 meters in a place like Ireland. That's serious grade for base metals, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's considered very high grade, especially over that kind of width. It suggests a really robust mineralizing system.
But it wasn't just more zinc and lead, right? They found something else deeper down.
Correct. And this is where it gets really interesting from a geological perspective. They pushed a hole deeper below the main zinc-lead zone they've been defining. And they intersected a distinct copper-silver zone. So it's not just one type of mineralization. It looks like a stacked system.
A multi-metal system. And I saw that silver number in the deeper zone. One part was incredibly high grade.
Off the charts, really. The overall intercept was 17.4 meters, averaging 35 grams per ton silver and 0.31% copper, which is good in itself. But yeah, within that, there was a 0.4 meter section that ran 917 grams per ton silver, almost a kilo, and 1.97% copper.
Wow. So you have zinc, lead, silver up top, and then copper, silver below it. Does having 2 different zones stacked like that make mining more complicated, or?
That's often the concern. But according to the CEO, Bart Jaworski, having them close together is actually, quote, a fortuitous situation from a future mining perspective. It seems the latest drilling suggests these steep feeder structures might be bringing the 2 zones closer vertically than they first thought.
Okay. So potentially easier to access both from a single development. More efficient.
That seems to be the implication, yeah. Less complex than mining 2 completely separate ore bodies.
And this thing is still growing. It's on a 6-kilometer trend. They've got 3 drill rigs going right now.
And 11 more holes already drilled with assays pending. So expect more news flow. This Ballywire discovery is definitely heating up.
Okay, let's shift gears. From exciting exploration in Ireland to the nitty-gritty of getting a mine built in Colombia, Denarius Metals, DMET, headline. Denarius Metals clears final permit at Colombia's Zancudo, sets 2026 start for a 1,000 TPD plant. This feels like a really major step.
It absolutely is. This is what you call a major de-risking event. For investors looking at timelines and execution risk, this is huge news. Denarius, also DNRSF on the OTCQX, they secured the final big approval they needed. It's a 30-year industrial facility permit from Antioquia for their Zancudo gold-silver project.
30 years. And that specific permit from Antioquia, why is that the crucial one?
Well, Antioquia is the regional environmental authority there. Getting their stamp of approval, especially for such a long-term 30 years, basically signals that Denarius has met all the significant environmental and community standards. Permitting is often the biggest bottleneck for juniors, right? It can drag on forever. Getting this finalizes that stage. It moves the project from if to when.
Right, and that when now has a target date.
It does. They're aiming to build and commission a 1,000-ton per day processing plant, a decent size, and have it running by late Q2 2026.
And the funding for that build, is that locked in?
Seems to be well supported. They have an existing offtake deal with Trafigura, which is a major player. And Trafigura is advancing the next chunk, US $2.5 million of a larger US $9.2 million prepayment facility tied to that offtake. So the funding mechanism is in place.
And the company sounds confident. Serafino Iacono, the executive chairman, mentioned all the plant equipment is actually already on site. That's a big deal logistically.
Huge. Getting heavy equipment imported and delivered to site is often a major delay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, having it physically there removes a big piece of the construction risk.
Okay, but what's the key takeaway for someone looking at the investment case here? How does having their own plant change things?
It dramatically improves their economics. Before, they were shipping basically raw, high-grade ore around 7.3 gram gold to someone else for processing. When you do that, you don't get paid for all the metal in the ore. There are deductions. That's called payability.
Right, lower payability on direct shipping ore.
Exactly. But once their own plant is running, they expect payability for gold to jump to somewhere between 86% and 90%. It's a massive increase in the revenue they keep per ounce. It makes each ton they mine significantly more profitable. It transforms the project's financial profile.
Got it. Big step towards becoming a producer with much better margins. Okay, let's swing back to exploration. Prospector Metals, PPP, also PMCOF on the OTCQB. They're putting out results from their Scarn Ridge target in Canada. Headline talks about multiple high-grade gold trends extending the corridor. Looks like more high-grade discovery potential.
Yeah, this is definitely in the high-grade gold camp. And they're delivering the kind of numbers that make people sit up and take notice. We're talking intercepts like 61.45 grams per ton gold over 1.9 meters. That's spectacular grade.
60 grams. But you need more than just narrow, super high-grade veins, right? You need some width, some consistency to build tonnage.
Absolutely, and they seem to be getting that too. They also reported 4.64 grams per ton gold over a solid 10 meters, and another hole hit 2.97 grams per ton gold over a full 25 meters. That's good bulk tonnage potential right there. And even that interval included a richer zone of 3 meters grading almost 20 grams per ton.
So high-grade cores within wider mineralized zones, that's a good combination. And I saw one assay was even higher.
Yeah, there was a half-meter sample that ran 141 grams per ton gold. Just shows you the potential peak grades this system can deliver. Very rich.
And how big is this looking? Are they showing continuity?
They are. The drilling so far has traced this mineralized corridor for at least 1.5 kilometers. That's crucial for eventually defining a resource. And importantly, recent surface work mapping and sampling has extended the potential strike length by another 750 meters to the north. They pulled grab samples up there, grading up to 109 grams per ton gold.
So the system is still open, still growing?
Looks like it. Management is calling it a potential district scale system. The next logical step, they say, is to explore the gap about 4 kilometers between this Scarn Ridge zone and another known area called the Test Zone.
Lots of blue sky potential in that gap if it connects up.
A huge amount, yeah. That's where the really big prize could lie.
Okay, one more story. Staying in Canada, but shifting to copper, Vizsla Copper, VCU, they're extending a new discovery in BC called Thera. Headline emphasizes long copper intercepts, setting up for more drilling. Sounds like a bulk tonnage play.
That's exactly what it looks like. When you're hunting for porphyry copper deposits, the kind that become major mines, it's all about size, consistency, and grade over long intervals. And Vizsla Copper is delivering on that front.
The key number seems to be from hole TH25-145, 237.3 meters, grading 0.51% copper equivalent, or CEQ.
Right. And just to remind listeners, QE combines the value of copper, gold, silver, maybe other metals, into a single copper percentage. So 0.5% QE over almost 240 meters. That's a really strong start for this type of target.
Especially near surface, right?
Exactly. Mineralization started just 8 meters downhole in that one, and it wasn't a one-off. Another hole, TH25-144, hit 240 meters, grading 0.39% QEQ. Seeing these long, consistent runs near the surface is key. It suggests the potential for an open-pit operation with a low strip ratio, which helps the economics.
And the system is still open.
According to the company, yes. And in all directions and at depth. Plus, as Craig Perry, the executive chairman, pointed out, it's in an infrastructure-rich area of BC mining country. Good jurisdiction, access, power. That all matters.
So phase 1 drilling outlined this mineralization over about an 800 by 500 meter area. What's next?
Phase 2 is designed to be bigger. They want to test the scale potential along the entire 8-kilometer-long alteration trend they've identified. They're basically looking to see if there is just one porphyry center or if there could be multiple centers along that trend.
Which would make the overall potential much, much larger.
Immensely larger. That's how you get from a discovery to a potential mining district. Steve Blower, their VP Exploration, talked about significant scale potential. They're clearly thinking big here.
Okay, so if we tie all this together, what's the common thread today?
I think it's about demonstrating progress. For the explorers like Vizsla Copper, Prospector Metals, Group 11, it was about showing continuity and scale. Those long intercepts, the extensions along strike, the multiple zones, they move the story beyond just isolated hits. They start building the case for a real deposit.
Right, showing the system has size and consistency.
And for Denarius, it was about execution. Crossing that massive permitting finish line. That wasn't about finding more metal. It was about proving they can build the mine, reducing that critical project risk.
So whether it's drilling out a discovery or getting permits locked down, these are the kinds of tangible steps forward that investors need to see. These specific results, the 917 grit silver, the 30-year permit, the 240-meter copper hits, that's the data you need for your own research.
Exactly. Forget the fluff. Focus on the grade, the width, the permits, the timelines. That's where the value inflection points often are.
Which brings us to maybe a final thought for you listening. There's this constant balance, isn't there? Denarius just showed how execution turns potential into a schedule when that provides a certain kind of investment clarity. But for the explorers like Vizsla or Prospector, the question becomes, how many more of these great drill holes, these long step outs, does it take before their exciting discovery starts to feel like an inevitable resource?
Yeah, when does the weight of evidence become overwhelming?
Tracking that transition, seeing if they keep hitting, keep expanding, that's the key thing to watch in the next few quarters for those names. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into today's small cap action.